Dadgum. I hate it when this happens. You know, you're out on the trail and this time of year it gets dark too early and you try to rush off of it because you know your lights aren't that great. And here I am trying to find my way off the trail before it gets too dark because these lights stink. I'm gonna have to do something about that. I think I'm gonna add some pod lights. Yeah. Hey, how's it going out there? Hey, this is Moots KL Adventure, and my name's Chad. Glad you can stop by and join us today. So, what we're gonna go over is my new 4-inch pod light. So, I want to show you guys a little bit about the install process, kind of how I wired them up, where I ran the wires, and just talk about a little bit about why I went with these lights and you know, why I wanted to add lights to start with. You know, what was the reason? And hey, hopefully by the end of this, if you're considering adding some pod lights like these, then you know, if you're on the fence, you'll lean one way or the other. Maybe you'll decide to do it, maybe you won't. Hopefully this video can help you out with that. Before we jump into that, if you're new to the channel or you know, you're enjoying the content on this channel, hey, consider hitting that subscribe button. All right, you know, it's free to you, but it can help us out here at Moots KL. All right, let's take a look at this stuff. All right, so first thing, you know, let's just take a look at them, shall we? All right, so I feel like you know, these suckers turned out really good. You know, good look to them. And what I went with, because there's a lot of lights out there on the market, but I went kind of the cheaper route. I went with the Nilight 4-inch pod lights, and for mounting, I went ahead and bought the Hazard Sky A-pillar mounts, as you can see there. And then I went ahead and fed my wiring back behind this little trim piece here, and down in under the hood. So that was just kind of my choice. And why did I go with the Nilights? Well, honestly, what I've seen, sounded like they were decent lights for the money. I mean, I think they cost, it's like 26 bucks. And then the Hazard Sky pod light mounts, I mean, those are you know, 48 I think, versus, I don't know, the other ones I saw were MFC. I think they were 100 plus. But I've had Hazard Sky stuff like the Hazard Sky Lift and feel like it's good quality product. So why pay extra whenever I like the quality of what Hazard Sky is putting out? What you'll see here on the passenger side, so the wiring comes in, and I'll show you once again here in a minute how that pops off. Wiring I fed through underneath that. And what you got is this channel that runs the length of your glass, the length of your windshield, and I just ran it down that channel and it came out down here. Now for the connection, for my wiring harness, I went with the Nilight 10-foot wiring harness, and so I hid that because I really wanted a clean look to this. But you pop off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clips there, and this whole section here will pop up, and then you can just feed your wire from one side to the other, and it turns out, look, I mean, it just looks clean. You know, you don't have wires dangling around anywhere. And then went ahead and fed the wire right back up that channel and to the driver's side pod light. So with this 10-foot wiring harness, it comes with a relay as well as an inline fuse. And right now I just have my relay zip tied on there. I eventually, which sometime really soon, I'm going to take a self-tapping screw and I'm just going to screw it right in there, and that'll become its own. So all in all though, I'd say that that turned out to be a very, very clean install. There's not wires dangling all over the place or anything like that, and that's really, really important to me. So issues with the wires. So the only issue I really had was with this 10-foot wiring harness, the 2 wires that need to go up to the second pod light on the driver's side, they were actually attached to the 10-foot section, like right here, and there was no way for them to reach up to those pod lights. So I had to, they were soldered on there, I had to cut it off and then strip the wire back here a little closer so that I had enough length to reach those and reattach them. And I used some heat shrink and then taped it up as well. So if you get the Nilight 10-foot wire harnessing kit, that's something you'll end up running into too. So other than that, I really didn't have any issues. So let's take a look at where I where I went through the firewall. So let me give me a little peek at that here. All right, you see the wire there? It's going into a little cap, and that cap just pops right out. Real easy to pop out. So I pop that cap out, and then I'll show you on the inside, but there's a kind of a rubberish feeling material that seals that too. And I just poked a hole through that. Then I took that cap and I kind of nipped it to where I could put the cap back on, and that wire would fit inside of it. Okay, so now that you've seen where the wire goes in from the outside, let me show you this in here. Actually, first, I guess, since we're here, there is the switch. I went ahead and the 10-foot wiring harness from Nilight, it does come with a little switch. It's a little circular round switch that would work, but I'm planning on eventually adding more lights, so I figure I at least have 2 more light installs to do, and maybe more. But I went ahead and bought the Nilight switch. It's got 3 switches, so I can wire up a couple different, a couple more lights. And right now I've just got mine on the rock lights, and it fits actually pretty perfect in here. So I mean, it doesn't move around or anything. So that little cubby's a nice spot for that. Right there. Let's see. You can see, just poke that little hole in this little rubber feeling stuff and fed it through there. And then ran it up in here. Ran it up underneath this little, you'll see the lights, but ran it up here behind the tray that pops out. Popped it out here, wired it up, and voila. So yeah, all in all, man, I'm super happy with this. I think it looks great. I think the functionality. At the very end, I'll show you how much light I get from it. So with these pod lights, I'm hoping to not have to rush off a trail anymore. And so far, what I've seen when I haven't been on a trail yet, but just going down the road in the country, I mean, it's just poof, light for days. So I'm excited to see what they look like on the trail, and I'll show you a little bit at the end. All right, let's get into a little bit more of the nuts and bolts of this, a little bit more of the install, and see you on the other side. First thing we're gonna do is we need to pop this little rubber cover here. Oh, there you go. This whole piece needs to come off. So according to Hazard Sky, the top 2 is kind of need to pop towards the inside of the vehicle. So I'm just kind of gonna try and get in here without messing up any. Whoop, don't scratch the paint. There's one. There we go. There's the two clips on the top. Now we'll get these bottom ones. So the bottom two, there's a kind of pry towards the rear. There's one. Yeah. There's two. There we go. And I'm using a little red marker. It doesn't show up, but hey. Marker hole. All right, shows up good enough, right? So now we'll drill that out, and you're supposed to use a 3/4 inch drill bit, but I don't have a 3/4 inch drill bit, so I'm gonna end up using this little Dremel here to clean up the cut, and make it just a little bit wider. All right, there you go. So that's what the fit should look like. Gotta remove this bolt down here, and it's what your little mounting post is gonna screw into. So right here, so you can see. All right, we're on the side here. So if you look straight down, you can see. So you need a little 10mm socket to get that out. And like I said, that's where your mounting post is going to end up going. So, all right, so get that screw out of there, and that'll give you room to screw that bad boy into. So that's going to screw into where that bolt was at. Where is that? All right. Snap. All right. She's back in. Let's see if I can pop this back out. That won't help. Give me a little view of this. Okay. I don't want to cross thread it though either. There we go. Now, clamp that. So now, what I ended up having to do, because it's hard to see down in that hole to line it up with the, the hole it needs to screw into, that we took that bolt out, we took the bolt out down there. Then you got to line this up, all of it up, so it'll thread into that. I ended up just popping these back off so I could see what I was doing, peeled it back a little bit, lined it up, screwed it in. So now it's just a 17 mil. Tighten that sucker up, and then we'll put the plate on. So I got both of them on. We'll just take a look and thing looks nice and clean. Don't have the pod lights on yet. Got the hardware in my hand, but looks good. All right, now we're gonna put these pod lights on. All right, so got them both installed, and that's a long ways off. But there you go. I think they look pretty slick. Okay, so I went ahead and crimped these on. So it was getting a little dark. Hopefully got enough light to get through most of this. If not, I'll just have to show you guys later what I ended up doing. But try to get at least one of these wired up before the daylight runs away. Okay. So I'm gonna try to go up through here. So I'm gonna need to pop these brackets back out again. There's one. There's two. Okay, so if you can see this, I'm gonna try to feed it down the ridge here, down here. So it's underneath that plastic there. Alright. The red and black to black. Alright. Now let's feed that back through there. Let's see what that color. Woo! Alright, so I can't really see the camera right now, so I don't know if I'm looking at it or not. I'm out here, you know, out in the woods. Got those pod lights on, and they are bright. So hey, you know, didn't film all of the install because, well, ran out of daylight. I don't have access to my shop right now, so ran out of daylight. Wasn't able to film everything. But hopefully you have a pretty good idea of what the install looks like and what you'd be going through and what it would look like whenever you're done. So I'm going to try to give you a good idea from outside of the vehicle of what the lighting change really is. So I'm going to hop in, and I'm gonna turn off the pod lights, and then right now I don't have the bright lights on. I'm going to turn off the pod lights, I'll turn on the bright lights, and I'll turn on the pod lights, okay? So you can, you know, see for yourself. So hopefully that shows up for itself in the video, but you really can see a lot with these pod lights, especially off to the sides, which I've tilted mine out a little bit. But so hopefully this video helps you out, so you have a pretty good idea of what you're getting if you install the A-pillar pod lights, and these are the Nilight 4-inch ones. So hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one.